Hi, it's Bob Moog at UG Studios, and I'm here today with Billy Langsworthy, who's the founder of Mojo Nation. How you doing, Billy?
Very good, thanks.
Unlike most of the interviews that I've done and that you see on the site, where I've known the people for 10, 20, 30 years, Billy and I just met about 10 minutes ago. So this may be a little rockier than you're used to in terms of the interviews, but I'm really glad to meet you. I've been following your work pretty much since you started.
Thank you, no, likewise.
How did you get into the game world, and why games, why have you made games your passion? And if you could tell me that, then we'll talk a little bit about what Mojo Nation is.
Yeah, so I started out in the journalism side, so I was covering the industry for a trade publication in the UK called Toy News, and it was very much like a trade magazine, so it was following the market and the marketing plans for these sort of things. But as soon as I started meeting inventors of games, they immediately became my most favourite people in the industry. They were really passionate, interesting, and it was an area that was totally new to me, and it seemed underground in the UK. So we started doing more and more interviews with those guys in the magazine. We launched a tiny event at Toy News, which was for amateur designers. So if cab drivers or teachers had ideas for games, they could come along, learn about the industry and pitch their ideas.
And the first year you did that, how many showed up? How many amateur inventors came?
30.
30, and then did you have companies, actually real companies, look at their ideas?
Yeah, we had about 6 or 7 companies.
Wow.
So it started off really small. And then the interesting thing for us was by the 3rd year of running that event, we had professionals going, and I'd sort of say to those guys, why are you going to this? Surely you've got some...
You've got other ways.
Yeah, exactly. And they were saying in the UK, there wasn't much going on for them in terms of conferences or pitching opportunities or awards. So I went back to where I was at the time and sort of pitched Mojo. Wasn't right for them, and so I took the leap and decided I'd leave and set it up on my own. And then it's now myself and a guy called Adam and a guy called Deej who does all of our interviews on the website. And it sort of rolled on from there, basically.
So what is exactly Mojo Nation? Is it a website or is it a business?
So we describe ourselves as a body for toy and game designers. So we have a website where we cover sort of interviews, news and opinion pieces from inventors. So it might be the Fantastic Factory talking about how they come up with stupid deaths, for example. And then we're an events business as well. So we run design conferences, awards, pitching events. We do a lot with students, so we do a lot with UK universities, trying to encourage product design students to be interested in game design or toy design. And then we also do stuff with licenses, so we get brands coming to us like Rubik's saying, we'd like to explore what we could do in games or toys or collectibles. And then we partner those guys up with inventors.
So is it sort of a online newspaper in a sense?
Yes.
And then you've got an event business, and now you're developing a consulting business.
Yes, so we work with, especially on the amateur side, we often get those guys who want to come to our pitching event but they're not quite ready. So we often help those guys, with research and just knock their idea into shape a little bit.
And it's just the 3 of you really running the thing?
So it's me and Adam who run the main part, and then Deej, who's a brilliant writer and a creative consultant, he does all of our interviews. So yeah, just the 3 of us at the moment.
That's fantastic. And how often do you put something new on your website? Is it daily, weekly, monthly?
There's new stuff almost daily on the website, but it's a weekly newsletter that goes out. And then we also, every year, we publish a print book which goes out at London Toy Fair, Nuremberg and here, and that is a roundup. We basically ask the industry to nominate the top designers in the industry over the last 12 months. We put it all in a book called the Mojo Nation 100, and that essentially highlights the top 100 designers in that industry for that year with some interviews and opinion pieces, and yeah.
So you're doing something really interesting because you've designed your job so you get to interact as much as possible with inventors.
It was a very selfish passion in terms of these are the people I like talking to, how can I talk to them more, basically, was the crux.
And when you talk to them, what do you hear as common threads of complaints or challenges regarding companies like ours who are acquiring and publishing their ideas?
There's an interesting thing around just opportunities, I suppose, and obviously wish lists and things like that, which are of use. The one thing we tell a lot of people starting out in the industry that they don't grasp, and I don't know whether you see this as well, but you might have someone who's new to it who has their one game and that's it, and they've had it for a long time, and it's their baby, and criticism maybe isn't the nicest thing to hear.
Yeah.
And our big thing that we say to anyone new coming in is have lots of ideas, have lots of games, because if you're going to meet someone like yourself, if you've just got one idea and then you go out and you don't like it, that's fine. But if you have loads of ideas, and if I pitch you 10 ideas, even if none of them are right for you, you might think, well, Billy showed me nothing that was right for us, but he had 10 ideas. He's a bit of an ideas machine.
So I want to talk to him again.
You'll want to see me again, and that's what we say to.
And is that your when you look at the professional designers versus the amateurs, and are the amateurs still allowed to come to the events?
Yeah. So
okay.
and we've had a perfect example actually. Is last year we had a teacher, a recruitment consultant, and a PR person all come to the event with games. They all signed options on the day.
Wow.
And all of their games are coming out later this year, basically.
That's fantastic.
So there is real value in having people that have never done it before come along.
And how does your business make money? Do you charge the inventors to come, or do you get a piece of any deal
No,
they do?
so we don't get a piece. It's sort of all ticket sales. Obviously, companies pay to be involved in the pitch, and then it's things like sponsorship. And we have, for the website, we have a jobs board, advertising jobs in design.
What have you learned from the designers? If you gave one piece of advice to would-be inventors, which is have more than one idea.
Yeah.
Are there any other things you've noticed that separate the more successful game inventors from the less successful game inventors?
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's a great difference just in their approach to how they treat their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's that thing of if you love them, let them go. They're not too attached. They're happy to go in and pitch 20 ideas, and if you sit there and you say that's not right for us, there's no ego in it. It's the job. Some are going to hit, some are going to miss.
We had an inventor in here, and he said, people ask me, I said to him, how do you describe your career? He goes, I say I am an expert at rejection versus acceptance.
Yeah, there is so much rejection in it, and it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
If you've got a lot of ideas and a lot of people to show it to, some things will stick.
What do you think about the idea that you've got to have a story? That it's not just, here's my game and here's the rules, but the more successful inventors will wrap that up in a story about the game that helps position it for the company that's looking at it. Do you think that's valuable, or do you think?
There's two ways to that. I think if they know your company and their story links into what you're doing, whether it's an acquisition or something like that, and they say, look, I think this fits in here and this is the reason why, then I think that is valuable. I think where some of the newbies struggle sometimes is, they might have a game and they'll say, it came from my grandma, she told me this story and this made me think I should do this, and this is where the game come from. And in their pitch, some of them will think, it's a bit like these sort of talent shows. There'll be a lot of the personal story, and they hope that will make a difference, and that you'll think, well, that was such a sweet story.
I want to help this person.
It's such a sweet story that I'll say yes to the idea, and that's obviously not how it goes. No. So we often say, just cut to the chase, cut to your idea, get it across in as succinct a way as possible, and focus on that.
In England, there's a show similar to Shark Tank. In fact, it was the predecessor show called Dragon's Den.
Yes.
Have you ever had any of the people go on to Dragon's Den?
Yeah, we know a lot of people that have done that, and especially it's that interesting thing for us is when we meet a brand new designer, it's them weighing up that decision. Do I start a company around my one idea, or do I go and license it? And we've met a lot of people who have gone down the Dragon's Den route and then have become huge companies.
Really?
So like,
oh, that's wild.
Big Potato.
They went to Dragon's Den?
With Linky, they started there.
Oh, I didn't realize
They did Dragon's Den. Accentuate Games in the UK, they did Dragon's Den. So for that route, yeah, I think that is an interesting one.
Now, when you're thinking about waking up in the morning and going into work, do you go to an office in London?
I work from home.
You work from home.
Yes.
So when you go into work, you just go from the bedroom to the kitchen?
I roll to my left, and I'm in the office.
And you're in the office that fast.
Exactly.
So you have a very short commute.
Yeah, exactly, very short.
So when you roll and you're in the office, what are your favorite things to do during the day? What part of your job do you like the best?
Well, I love speaking to people like yourself, so I think interviewing inventors, and one of the things when we first launched is we were planning to do a weekly newsletter, and we thought, will we run out of content when we do 3 months of interviews and we've spoke to everyone? But we haven't found that. Every week we're finding new people to speak to, new gems. So I love speaking to inventors and how they fuel their creativity.
Well, we should go back and forth, because if we have good interviews, we should introduce you to those people.
Yes.
And if you have good things in print that you think would be good for what we're doing, we'd love to work with you.
Absolutely, yeah. Super.
That's great. I just think it's interesting. Some people can't think of an answer to what they like about their job. So it's good that you know what you like, and you like the inventors, and that drives your strategy. When you're thinking of new things to do, like going to universities, it's to create more people that you like to talk to.
Exactly. I mean, that was a real thing of it's hearing people like yourself and finding out what is it you need from inventors. And some people in the UK, they were saying, we're not seeing too many new inventors come through. So our solution to that is to go into unis and try and get as many of those guys into the industry as we can.
I got a different kind of question for you. One of the challenges that I've had, and one of the criticisms that I've had over the years in running university games, is that I started out as a game inventor, and I think like a game inventor, and I love talking about games and inventing games, and that's really distracting from trying to run a profitable business. When you're meeting game inventors and they tell you that they want to build a company the way Big Potato did, do you sometimes look at their personality and look at what they're doing and sort of say, I don't know if this is the right way for you, or do you just try to encourage them like a parent would in whatever direction they want to go?
We do try and encourage, but it is a very different skill set. We've met some brilliant designers who aren't overly business savvy, or they're nervous in terms of pitching, or their mind is wired in a way that they can create amazing mechanisms and toys. But if they were having to deal with the finances of running a business or that sort of stuff, it would just fall down. Our advice is to collaborate. It's find people who are going to do those jobs, and are good at those jobs, that let you do the stuff you're really good at and really interested in.
That's great.
And yeah, you won't fall down in that way.
That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for doing this. We love doing these short interviews. I pulled you literally out of our stand. I pulled Annika, who's our producer, out of a meeting, and I'm just glad the three of us were able to squeeze this in, and I look forward to getting to know more about Mojo Nation. And I hope, what is your, if people want to read the articles, where do they go?
Yeah, so our website is www.mojo-nation.com. And then our main sort of event is called the Play Creators Festival, and that's in September in London.
All right, well, I hope to be there in September.
Yes, fingers crossed.
All
absolutely,
right.
amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for this.
Thanks for watching, and happy gaming. If you found this video helpful, go ahead, give it a like. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our channel to make sure you're on top of the latest videos and content from your friends at UG Studios. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.